see. All right, so
Justin, I want to start with what I have to see how far off I am.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go to DL config.
Okay, I got presenting.
And then go to my desktop. Yeah, I don't know if you know what I meant.
Yeah, so let's go to your desktop on DL config.
Okay. So here, that one, I got that file, but it have all these little. No, go back. You got into the wrong one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That one.
Oh, okay, is that what the model is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is a 409, and then so you might be on the right track, but what I'm going to do, because I don't know, I want to make sure I start from the top. I'm going to show you where I get it from. So you sent me. He says
no, it was a text message.
Oh, was it text? Okay, I've got it over here.
Hold on 1 second, okay?
Let's see here. Hold on, just 1 second.
Hey. He has a quick question, but do you want me to? You want to come back?
Hey, yes, sir. I'll be 1 more minute.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, so yeah, they can be right by it.
Okay, I want to make sure. I didn't want to sit there and I put them down there, and next thing I know, I got to move 3 outlets.
Yeah. So they're running all power to right near that.
I didn't know if that cabinet was going to be taller, longer, or not.
Yeah. So as far as I know, it's going to be smaller. Okay. So I mean, it'll be.
But still hanging on the wall.
It's still going to go on the wall. Yeah. So basically, what they're doing is their powered speakers. They're going to run wire all the way back to it.
Okay.
And they just said for our simplicity that it's fine to just put it there. They quoted us to run wire all the way back. So we got basically 8 different things we're powering, and that's what they spec'd out amperes. Because these speakers are about this big.
Now, does he want 4 quads there?
He just specified
just outlet,
just covering the amperature of the speaker. So yeah, I think
it's gonna be 20 amps no matter what you do.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Yeah, I think he said he wanted to throw it as 3 20-amp circuits.
Okay.
That's all he needed. So I mean, from there, I think that we can do surges and stuff like that. We just want to make sure that it covers the.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Make sure I didn't have to buy. Because right now I just got single, not single outlet, but duplex outlet. That's it.
Yeah, it's more so because the speakers, if you threw them all into 120 amp, it would blow it. Because I mean, these are about this tall. They're huge, enterprise grade subs and speakers. Mm-hmm. So he's going to run the cabinet's not too big. So if they're all in that, right now the outlet's very low down. So if they're kind of near that, that'll be fine.
All right. 3 things, Justin.
Yeah.
And you probably need to let you guys know. I put in for a computer request in my shop.
Okay.
Because they like to use my classroom for testing a lot.
Yeah.
But if I can get that, I already drilled the hole
to
the block to bring the foam through.
Okay.
But there's a big desk table on the outside. I don't want to put that computer in that office, so I was going to put it on that big desk in the shop. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I requested for that.
Okay.
Also, I put in my budget for a big screen TV.
Yeah.
Go through you with that.
I think Dawn had mentioned that, so that it would go through Dawn because that's Kate.
Okay.
She actually, I have an email from her now as well, so I think that's probably.
Yeah, I requested that because I could use that in my shop too a lot for drawings and stuff like that when we're doing switching and stuff. It makes it a lot easier.
She had mentioned that end of May, and now because you're one pin and stuff saying it's like
I have in my classroom.
Exactly.
Same thing like Mr. Y'all have one on wheels right now.
Yep. So what we'll do is
I want the same thing, wheels, the whole 9 yards, but it don't have to move because they can tie in right there. Unless you want me to run a piece of pipe, I'll do whatever y'all want.
So and it may be one of the school has some existing ones on carts we may start the year with. So she requested it in May, and a lot of times those are 6-week lead times. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to put it in June because I have to get it in the next fiscal year. So now
y'all got a bunch at the middle school.
Yeah,
Because
there's
we
a
all
few
want
in
to
there.
do that out whenever they give me approval.
Mhm.
I saw a bunch of them in there.
Yeah, so we will get one that's yours, but you may start the year with one that's just borrowed, and we'll swap it. Just
I know Corey wanted one too, because
Mhm.
we could do a lot in our shops with them.
Oh, yeah.
Like our third year, we're in the shop.
Yeah.
Second and third, I'm in the shop more than I'm in that classroom.
Yeah.
So I can do a lot of drawing on it and show them diagrams and stuff like that, and videos and stuff like that
Oh, yeah.
when they're doing their projects.
Yep.
And when it started that, you thank Mr. Smith for that.
Oh, yeah.
We wanted that before Mr. Smith, but somehow he got one. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think, I guess you mentioned that at the beginning of last year, but kind of same deal. So I was waiting to order it till the fiscal year open. It's open now. But I know it'll probably come in August, but my plan is to just go grab one from that we got, in the meantime. It's just your permanent one will need to be one that is actually also paid money.
Now I'm gonna buy me a keyboard.
Okay.
I like to have a wireless one, so I was gonna buy me one.
Okay, yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No issue. As long as just get Microsoft Live, anything that's a brand. Or don't get like Red Dragon or like a,
I'm not a gamer.
well, yeah,
I'm not a computer geek.
any of those off-brand ones, just because if they're not a brand, sometimes they'll put malware in them. So as long as it's something that would appear in Best Buy.
So if I send you an email saying, hey, just want to look at that. Now, I got all these scores on my desk. I'm gonna do this like the first.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want to send an email to check, but basically, if it's something Best Buy would sell, so Microsoft, Logitech, Dell, HP, any brand,
Oh, I know y'all changing computers out.
we are absolutely. So anything that's a normal brand is fine. It's just sometimes Amazon have one for like $10, and it's just Amazon Basics and stuff like that. We just don't like to get in the habit of that because they're not as regulated.
Right.
So.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll have them out this coming day.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, Innocent, sorry about that. Should be good now. All right, so I'm going to get your link now, and I think you might be on the right track, but I want to make sure, because it looks like you've got a lot of them, and I want to make sure we got the right one. And so this model is a 400 G9. Is that that's what the big ones are?
No, that's the small ones, the little ones.
Oh, well, we already did those. So what we need is what's the model of the big one?
Let me go upstairs and grab one.
Okay.
What do you say you put it on the?
It's in that testing room.
I think I remember. Let me grab one.
Well, hold on one second. I might have it here. Hold on. Purchase order. I should have it here.
The reason I went back to it is because I checked the file folder for that and it was empty though. Do you want to check on the your config?
Yeah, I'll look at that in a second. So this is, okay, so here's what we got. This is the workstations.
Okay.
So all right, so this is a HP Z9 Tower G9, or Z2 Tower G9. And so what I would do here, let's go ahead and get that downloaded. Z2 Tower G9. Let's see here. Yeah, we might need to get that part number just to verify that this is correct.
Right. Let me go.
Yeah, go ahead and grab that real quick. All right, yeah, so.
All right, man.
All right, so this is what we do. So if you see my screen, so this is why I was confused. They named it in a different order. So this is the workstation we're looking at right now.
Okay.
And we only download one of these. It's the latest. I clicked the release notes just now. G9. And so if you saw, ours was a Z2 G9 tower. So we need this one. And we want to make sure that this is the Windows version we have. We might update it again if not.
Gotcha.
And then
at some point I was downloading. I was hitting the release notes instead of the EXE.
Yeah, that's what I just did too. So that could be it. So
Yeah.
if we go to drivers, I think I did SCCM drivers. And so if you see, there's the 400 G9.
Gotcha.
So if you look, I deleted some of the old one. So we had a G9 before. I think I just got rid of it. But anyways, this is the G9. So they're in here. They got extracted. But I'll show you kind of the whole process here too. So this one, we download this. And it's still going. And then what I'm going to do is while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and look and see what the state of my driver packages are. All right, so if you look, all these are in the core drivers. And so what I'll do is those are listed as 400 G9 2025. What I usually do is I make a folder. Let's see if there's anything in this folder currently. Okay, perfect. So they're not yet, but what I'm going to do is move those out to the side. And it's mainly because I like to work out of the root here. And it's kind of because you have to. So we'll get this cleared up. I always do this as the first step. I always clear out whatever's in the drivers. So I make sure they're in a category. And then I'm going to say move 400 G9 2025. And then that way there will be no drivers technically in the way.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so now we're at a blank slate. So the drivers still work. All the packages are updated with their new location. You saw I tagged them a couple ways. I have a package, a category, and a folder. It's kind of weird that you have to do that, but each one is for different reasons. So now we've got this file, and we only need the latest one. So you've got all of these. We don't grab the ones for old versions because if we're deploying it for a new computer, we know everything's going to be this or newer. You know, we're never going to have, since we're doing this deployment for the first time, we're never going to have this model on Windows 10 or anything like that. So
I gotcha.
Let's get this open. So there's the driver pack. Accept. And then what we can do is, I'll just put this here, whatever. I like to throw it local. Sometimes it has an issue extracting direct to where I need it to go. All right, so that's extracting. All right, so that just threw it in the C drive, and I just named it Yocel to be distinct. And by default, I guess it goes here, SW setup. But you can see this is the one I just made.
Gotcha.
And then this is what we end up looking for. So then what I'll do, DSCCM, drivers, and then
Like a new folder, right?
yep. And so it gets a little weird here. So I make two. So I'm going to make, there's a Z2 import here, for example. I'll make a new import, Z220, it'll do new folder, 2025 Z2. And then what I'm going to do is throw these all here. And so this is the folder where it's going to live. And it's just because the drivers need a UNC path to do the import usually, or they like to have that. So this is my raw drivers. And then I'm going to run that through System Center, and it's going to make a new folder. So now that that's importing, I'm going to make the folder where it's going to permanently live. So this folder I'm making is what the computers are going to talk to every time. So it'll be HP Z2 G9 Kate. And this is just a blank folder. It's because even though they live in this platform, it'll throw the files into this format like you're used to seeing.
Gotcha.
So this is this is output, right? And what I just made is just the input folder. So there was already a Z2 import. So I said, let's just piggyback off that, made a sub out of that. And so now we're in drivers, everything's extracted, and this is all we do. We're going to import, and you see it has to be a UNC. That's why I do it there. SCCM drivers, and then Z2 import, and then that folder. And then it says append a new category to the existing categories. You can keep the existing or override existing. So I always do create a new category. So this will take a few seconds here. Nothing too crazy. That's because I opened it twice earlier. I really wish they'd let you go around System Center while you're doing this, because we could set up the other stuff. Now, have you by chance booted up the Cape PC to see what they call it? You know how we do like the get computer model?
No, I don't think I've done that.
No worries. The image is pretty straightforward. The other thing we'll have to do, let's see if I've got this data stored somewhere, is we have to append all the asset numbers. And sometimes I throw them in here. So you see that 555168. And then let's see here. I want to make sure I've got all of them because there's going to be 3 batches. Might as well continue to look for that because I know I've got it sitting here somewhere. If not, what I'll do. So when in doubt, one thing you can always do if you ever needed these asset numbers. So in your assets, we can always do advanced searches. So we could export from here. You can always pull the Notion PO out. But I also probably have a 2024-5. See if it's inventory. So that's Chromebooks. So I'll just run an export out of here because at the end of the day, it's where it needs to be. So I've got that PO. And you can see what we bought it with. That might just be monitors, but I'll find that if not. So 5001. Yeah, that's monitors and quick release brackets. And so we've got 2403873. And then this is the last PO in line. So it'll be this one. So you can see they're all inventoried. I've got a high school batch and a fresh Francis Mac batch. And so what we'll do here is I will export these. And I'll export the Kate workstations. And all I do is I map these two fields, serial to asset numbers for the purpose of the script. So let's go ahead. We might as well do that. Is it still running the drivers? Let's go Brave. I closed it out here. So we're going to go 1-to-1 plus. That's 967. So we're going to export. We're going to make a folder for summer 2024, 25. We're going to do inventory. That's the export. Then we'll grab the next one. Did that again. That one is just quick release brackets. This is the one. Export. Notion, last one. And so what we'll do open these three sheets. Okay. Seven, and then this is 8.3. So now all of these are here. Save this. Let's go. And that's full. So I'm going to do, we're just going to throw it in here. All right, so we got all that set up. So if we look, this is where they're importing from. Driver to one or more categories we're going to create. We're going to name this HP Z2G9 Kate. So now it's got its own category. So we're going to go next, next, and then we're going to make it into a new package. HP Z2G9 Kate. I'll never fill this out. And then this is where it'll store it. So we're going to go do config. So if you think the package part is where is for deployments, the categories is just for the server. So that part gets a little confusing, but this is why I made that blank folder. And then if you look, I made the Z2G9 Kate folder here. And so that is the UNC path that we can use. And then it just asks about importing it into an image. I don't do this unless we have an issue booting into the PE environment.
Yes.
So we will go back and do that if needed, but I try to keep the image light because it's already, it already has to be kind of a big image. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and open up a couple things here. So SCCM, I have a scripts folder, OSDV2. And this is how all the computers get named. So we have to do it in the format of name and serial. And so if I now open up your SPS IT box,
So how you convert that to CSV?
So
you save it as CSV or what?
yeah, so this here is name. So what I'll do is all I have to do is get quotes in here. And actually what I'll end up doing a lot of times is like this. So I forgot. I usually use Sublime for this. So now it's on my clipboard. This is in my Mac side of the world. Coming in. Let's go. Sublime. So if I paste this and get rid of it, Sublime has, let's see, I think it is. Sublime has this really cool feature. There's 1,000,001 ways to do this. This is just what I do. And then if you see down there, for whatever reason, that's kind of clipped off. So now I'm just going to take this out, take these out. I have one extra there just because the last one sometimes gets a little weird. And so now that is the correct format. So I just use Sublime. It has like an option to hold Alt on there, and it just kind of lets you go through all the lines. And so if you look, this format now is very familiar. I guess it didn't copy. Sometimes I have that issue. Okay. There we go. So now we do save. And so now the names OSDV2 is as follows. We have our drivers now updating. So now most of the deployment is ready. It should be about ready. Yeah, so I've got some Chromebooks on your shelf, Yosel, by the way. They should all go to the high school.
Okay.
And then I saw you brought these computers. When you're up here, can you just help Mr. Newton with his setting it up? He'll need the Forti client and the camera software.
On the laptop?
Yeah.
Alright.
One of them are going to be for him. And then, hey, we may need your help in the summer. Well, actually, Russell will be able to handle this. The middle school's lab is not getting fully set up. It's getting placed, but they're not going to have internet in time because they're moving the lab. They kind of told me that last minute. So they're not going to have internet run in time. So I'm just going to have the team set them on the tables. We're doing this deployment next week. It's going to get a little bit cramped because I couldn't get ILS to get here until July 1st. But I needed these guys to work this side of the fiscal year. I couldn't have them working in July.
What's up, man? What's going on? I was,
Mr. Spencer's in there?
Yeah, he just popped in and left. I think he was checking the rooms or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Oh, he was trying to go to the restaurant. Okay.
All right, so that is still running. So let's see if we can see. I'm curious. I've never tried to look at this as it's doing it. So that's the 400 G9. This is the Kate. So you can see it's starting to fill this folder out.
Right.
And it needs it to be in this format. Because this is how the drivers actually end up. So it pretty much copies the file verbatim to the C drive of the computer.
Take a minute.
Drivers are the longest part. The rest is pretty quick little things you can kind of just zip up real quick. Once you get the drivers done, it's all about publishing it to the distribution point, which the distribution point is just kind of a website that runs off of this server. But yeah, I spent a lot of time waiting on drivers. It's drivers and then updates to System Center. Now I think endpoint configuration manager. So there's a new version of System Center that's completely rebranded. I think it's called Endpoint Configuration Manager, and I want to give it a shot, but I don't want to do it until we get this deployment down in case it becomes a pain.
Gotcha.
So I think maybe in July I'm going to start messing around with that a little bit because that's the new rebrand. All right, so a couple things now. So this is now in place. So we go into software library and we go into our task sequences. You can see there's a little bit of weirdness with that driver. Shouldn't be a problem. So let's get rid of drivers and let's go into task sequences. And so this is our main image. And this is kind of the flow. There's a Z2. What I'll do,
You say you copy that.
and make a new one. And I'm going to name the supply HPZ2G9 Kate. And then this is where we just made that package. And then it was Z2G9 Kate. And then the main other thing we have to do that you'll have to get this information for. So if I were to guess, it would be.
You already published the drivers?
Yep, drivers are in there, and then boom. So the driver part is now done for that computer, assuming we probably should start taking a note of this when we put the boot image in. There's PE, apply Windows drivers, install package. So Inventor was on here, apparently. I'm gonna disable that. And so now for our applications, we have the following. And then one thing I want to do is not that. Is I want to make an install applications Kate. And I want to do your brilliant Photoshop one.
Really?
Is that the one you did?
I don't know. Yeah, that one.
Because you made a folder. I don't usually have folders. So Adobe 25, and then I want to do, if I go in here, and then I don't need any of that because that's duplicate. So one thing I want to get you to check is the first phase of this would be to make sure that G9 is fine. I would rather make this more specific. This will work, but I want to see what it's called. Is it Z2G9? How do they say it? So if you can figure that out on one, what you can do is you can do a test image with this, and then once it gets in, you can find out what the actual name is. Now, if it stalls up, I'll give you this kind of, because I'll let you troubleshoot this. This is the trial and error part that comes after the fact, because this all should work well. Sometimes it does not. So what we'll do is we got to do a couple of things. We have to go into our task sequence or our driver package and drivers. Just in cleanup, I didn't do this last time, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder and just do Z2G9 Kate. Drivers, so Z2G9 Kate. So I want to get all these and go ahead and empty these for next year. And you can see, since I have the category, it's easy to make sure that's the right stuff. And then my OSD v2 has been updated. So what I want to do is look at my packages. OSD v2. Last updated, you can see at 317, so that's not new. So we can update our distribution points. This will update them since I made changes in that file. We'll give that a second, and then I'll be right back. While we wait, I just want to make sure that goes through before we proceed.
All right. So where does it live? It live in, you there?
All right, so sorry about that. They're also moving furniture across the way.
So I was asking you, where does it live at on software library?
OSDB2.
The OSDB thing for the names.
So yeah, so it lives in software library and packages, and then that's the one we just edited in scripts. So SCCM, it ends up talking to this here. Scripts, and then we've got the names. So all that lives there. So it ends up talking back to it ends up going back here to get the data. Now, most of the stuff that we had here does not actually go in the boot image, but one thing I like to do before checking anything is two things. I like to distribute my boot image. By right-clicking and distributing content. Our boot image is this 64-bit option here. And then actually, it's not distribute. My apologies, it's update because it's already distributed. And then here, I don't do this yet. One thing I need to do is update the SDK, the ADK version of Windows. But again, some of these updates I don't want to change up before we do this deployment. Because sometimes there can be weird stability issues that you don't know about until after you deployed a ton. And since we're having someone else do our deployment, you know, because they just pressed the button for us, I want to make sure that's seamless. So we'll get that running. And then what I always do afterwards, after I update this image yourself, is I reboot the server because it's cached. And I'm going to show you one thing in the boot image that we might have to check, because you remember I told you I didn't update the NIC drivers in this latest workstation. While we're in there, I want to check something on the Kate workstation. So if we say quote, I must have that open. And I'm just curious if this has wireless built in. Doesn't have to. And doesn't look like it. Yeah, this is what they're going to really like in your lab specifically, because I've been getting a lot of alerts that those hard drives are full. Yeah, okay. That's just Ethernet. That's fine. The lab that we have, I was kind of contemplating letting them run Wi-Fi maybe, because it's moving. Okay, so that should be good to go. So we've updated the OSD, we've updated the drivers. So one thing I want to look at now is operating system images. So I just want to be aware of what we have. So looks like we might be running 23H2. So this might be fine, but I downloaded the 24H2 drivers. So if it has an issue, we need to go ahead and update this.
I doubt you have an issue, but yeah, we can check that.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Usually drivers are fine.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we're using the 23H2. So it's Power School partition, apply operating system. Let's make sure it's using that. 23H2, and it is. So the last thing that might come up is if you have an issue in booting, you might need to go into this boot image here and upload your NIC drivers. So what I would do is go to properties and drivers, and then I would add new drivers, and then I would go into the Kate. And you see I've hidden all that are not a network driver. You don't need this. I don't think we have a wireless card. If we do, I'd be curious to see it, but you would need this. This. So you're looking for Ethernet and you're looking for storage. So this 10 gigabit, there's a network device that's wireless because we're not using wireless in PE. And it looks like they don't have any storage adapters in here from what I can tell. So the next thing we do, we're just going to leave this here. I think it'll work fine. Next thing we do is we go to boot into PE. Now, if that has an issue, we try the drivers, and if we still have an issue, we start to troubleshoot because sometimes there's other weirdness that can go on. There's a whole host of logs we can use to track it down if something does go wrong. Let's give that a second. Well, then that's pretty much it, really. Once this gets done rebooting, try doing an image on the new Kate one. And let's see, it should be fully functional afterwards. It should have ESET, Screen Connect, Office, and it actually should have Adobe as well.
All right, I set one up and give it a shot.
Yep, and then once it gets through, if it does work, go ahead and get the WMI thing, and let's figure out the model.
All right.
All right, thanks yourself.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll send you this video.
Link for that recording.
Yeah, it probably will come in about the next 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll send that your way.
Thanks, sir.
Yep, see ya.